16, and definitely a guy that's going to contribute this summer and with the Nittany Lions.
High pop-up just outside of the infield, twisting towards the trees. And that'll be out of play. A couple of St. Joe's to Penn State transfers on this team. Weingartner, one of them.
Ryan DeSanto, the other, coming out of the bullpen. Two really productive guys at St. Joe's who should definitely make a difference here in Harwich and then back in Happy Valley.
Hill takes a look at second. Now the 2-2. In off the hands of Weingartner in foul ground. Bryan chases after it, but he's going to run out of space. Brooks Bryan, a solid defensive catcher, but didn't have a chance at that one. "56 starts for the Trojans that Brooks Bryan had, all of which were behind the dish this year. Actually split time mostly between the outfield and behind the plate. But started in all 56 of their games, hit .279. Was able to cut down runners at a 15% success rate. Shot down the third base line, but foul. 3-2 the count remains to Weingartner, and if you're the Mariners against Cam Hill, this is exactly what you want. You want your guys to be working counts, fouling pitches off, and waiting for the right one they like.
7 pitches so far in this at-bat, just continuing to drive the pitch count up of Cam Hill. That number is past 40 so far, and anytime you can make a pitcher throw 20-plus pitches in an inning, you're doing your job as an offense.
2-2 pitch. Flared high out of the infield. And Weingartner stays alive once more.
It's 4 straight foul balls for the leadoff hitter.
It's been a battle. 2-2 again. Off the end of the bat, up on the infield. Hill pointing for it. He wants that one to stay in play, but it will not. And he will have to deal a 10th pitch to Ryan Weingartner in this at-bat. This is a heck of a battle, and it hasn't even gone to a full count yet. So still a pitch to work with if you're Ryan Weingartner trying to continue to work this count. He's got runners on first and second, 1-1 ball game. Hill's delivery in off of his hands and fouled straight back again.
This is a really good battle. You can tell Hill's just trying to get the fastball by. It's been locating on the inside part of the plate, but Weingartner doing a good job just continuing to battle and stay alive and do whatever he can to see another pitch.
Yeah, he tried to go inside. The last one was a bit more towards the outer half of the plate. Let's see where he goes here with another 2-2 pitch. He'll check at second. Throw there, not in time. Keeping Vincent Fator honest. Couple of stolen base attempts in this game already, one aside. And just one out here in this top of the second inning for Cam Hill. Next pitch misses up and away. He lost the handle there. 89-mile-an-hour fastball runs the count full. So here comes the 12th pitch of the at-bat for Ryan Weingartner. Misses up and away, ball 4. Well, it was a battle, Alex, and it was won by Ryan Weingartner. They load the bases with one gone in the second.
That's a really impressive at-bat for Weingartner there. Fouled off a ton of pitches in a row, just really facing a lot of hard heat coming in from Cam Hill, but didn't expand the zone there and wins the battle, and now Cotuit's going to meet on the mound.
Mike Roberts will head out to talk to the entire infield. We'll see how far Hill goes in this game. But of course, Mike Roberts is not someone who wants to leave pitchers out there, or any manager really isn't one to want to leave the starter out there if they're struggling to throw strikes, and that's exactly what Cam Hill has ran into in this second frame. 2 walks to start off the inning, allowed an RBI single from Bristol Carter, and then just recently lost Ryan Weingartner in a over 10 pitch battle in which Weingartner ended up walking his way to first with a walk. So 4 walks already issued today for Cameron Hill. What really do you think he needs to do to get back on track here?
I think for Hill, he's just relying too much on the fastball and he's trying to overthrow. He doesn't have that command, and when a pitcher is at their best, they're not overthinking. They're just getting the ball and firing. And Hill, you could see that he's overthinking the pitches he's throwing in the location, really trying to pound the inside part of the plate, but isn't getting the call, or those pitches are getting fouled off. So for Hill, I just think, as weird as it sounds, he has to think less out on the mound and just rely on his stuff.
So let's see what he falls back to here against Daniel Dickinson, not the guy you want to be facing with the bases juiced. His first pitch is in the dirt, 1-0.
Hill is also up to 27 pitches in this inning, had 21 back in the first inning and 48 total.
Bases juiced for Dickinson. 1-0 is cut on and missed. Perfectly located fastball there from Cameron Hill. 92 on the gun. He went up and away with it. And the count evens up at 1-1 against Daniel Dickinson. And you were talking about his stat line this year at Utah Valley. Incredible. The next pitch misses low and inside. 2 balls, 1 strikes to him. His 90 hits in the season led the entire conference. His 73 runs scored also led the conference. Led his team in pretty much every single offensive category as well, and helped his team to dominate those categories in the team category as well. That pitch gets in there and it's 2-2 to him. Utah Valley led the WAC in team scoring, team homers, OPS, on base percentage, slugging, total bases, triples, and hit by pitches. And Dickinson was a major part of that. Laces this one to deep left center field, taking Vu back to the alleyway, called off by Compton, who flags it down. Runner tags up from third. He will score to make it a 2-1 ball game. Daniel Dickinson knocks a sacrifice fly, and the Mariners make it 2-1. But there's 2 gone in this top of the second inning, and if you're Cam Hill, you can't really ask for much more there. You're able to get an out, 2 outs in the inning, just 1 more, and you're able to get out of this thing relatively unscathed.
It's a really good point that you make, and especially facing a super talented hitter like Daniel Dickinson. You'll take the long fly out, get the out. Now you have an open base at third, so just 1 out away from getting out of this inning and limiting the damage.
So they'll put runners on first and second again. Michael Anderson is the batter. First pitch to him as both runners fake the steal, and it's shot down the first baseline foul. And we saw that fake steal work for the Lexington Blue Sox in the scrimmage that we saw a week ago. Brooks Bryan was behind the plate. Fake steal was on at second. Runner took off for third, or at least that's what Brooks Bryan thought. He ended up airmailing it into center. The runner stayed put, but it was a good opportunity for Brooks Bryan to showcase that arm he has to the Cotuit faithful. He has a cannon behind the dish. Oh, 0-2 the count to Michael Anderson. He reaches out over the plate and stays alive. That was a perfectly located breaking ball low and outside, and a nice piece of hitting by Anderson just to get a piece. Mike Roberts shouting from the Cotuit dugout, talking about timing to Cameron Hill right now, talking about the base runners figuring out the timing of when he delivers home. And this one's fought off down the left field line. Compton giving chase. He can't get to it. 1 hop into his glove. Runner charging around third. He will score. An RBI single from Michael Anderson makes it a 3-1 Mariners ball game. So nice piece of 2-out hitting there. And they have figured Cam Hill out in this top of the second frame.
That was a really good job by Anderson, not expanding the zone too much. Was down on the count 0-2 and got a pitch that he could drive from Hill and floats it into left field for an RBI single. And that's the dangerous game of walks. You give free passes out to these hitters, and now Harwich getting guys on base and capitalizing.
So they'll put runners on first and second for the 4th at bat in this inning. Cam Maldonado is the batter. He accepted a walk his first time up just an inning ago. Ahead in the count, 1-0. So 3 runs on 3 hits and an error so far for Harwich. 1 run, no hits for the Kettleers. 1-0 from Hill. Fastball upstairs, 2 balls, no strikes. Hill owned an 8-0 record last year with the Kettleers, the league best. 2-0 pitch, half swing from Maldonado. 2-1 the count. And was able to help Martha's Vineyard to their first ever NECBL title in 2022, where he played his summer ball. A 1.92 ERA, went 2-0 on the Vineyard. Really solid summer ball stats does Cam Hill have. The 2-1 pitch in there for strike 2. Well, he needed that there to fall back to 3-1 against Cam Maldonado with the runners where they're at. Would have been really difficult to have to battle back into this count. But let's see if he can finish him off with the count 2-2. Misses outside and it's full.
And Hill looking for the put-away pitch that he had, and he had the strikeout pitch working in the first inning with 2 punch-outs of Weingartner and Anderson, but now just continuing to labor out on the mound. Let's see if he can get out of it.
3-2 pitch, runners go, low and inside. It pops out of the glove of Bryan. And the Mariners load the bases in the top of the second inning. Already 3 runs across in this frame. And a right-hander warming up in the Kettleers bullpen is Jacob Schaefer. And now Mike Roberts is going to make the move to him. So Cameron Hill struggles to get out of his second inning of work. Harwich is able to pile on 3 runs on 4 walks, a couple of hits, a sacrifice fly, and they lead it 3-1. A pitching change from Lowell Park will bring you everything and more on Jacob Schaefer when we return on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Since 1980, the O'Rourke family has been catering Cape Cod clam bakes, making your events delicious and memorable. Founded by Jake O'Rourke, Jake's Clam Bakes has become a beloved tradition, now carried on by his son, Dan. Choose from our menu options, and on the day of your clam bake, their crew will come to your site and steam a fresh, mouth-watering clam bake just for you. It's that easy. Call us at 833-252-6285 or visit our new takeout location at Building 6 on 3821 Route 28 in Marston's Mills. Email us at dan@jakesclambakes.com with your event details, number of guests, date, time, location, and any special requests like a raw bar, homemade desserts, or kids menu. Not catering? Try their takeout menu featuring lobster rolls, smash burgers, salads, sandwiches, and a smoothie bar. Jake's Clam Bakes, making Cape Cod gatherings unforgettable.
Jacob Schaefer is the new pitcher in for the Kettleers, needing just one out in the top of the second inning. We get our first looks at Schaefer after pitching for the Kettleers a season ago. First pitch is a breaking ball that falls in for strike one. Nice pitch there from Schaefer. Started at the left shoulder of the batter, Macon Winslow, and it dropped low and outside. Coming off a 5.99 ERA and 16 starts at UNCW this year. Off the end of the bat, flared into center field, past the reach of Advincula. One run is in. Another one coming in to score. Throw goes to third. It's not in time. A 2 RBI single for Macon Winslow blows it open in the top of the second. Harwich takes a 5-1 lead.
And Jacob Schaefer really came into a brutal situation with the bases loaded, trying to just get one out, but you were waiting for that hit to come in from Harwich, and just like that from Winslow, a bloop single, scores two, and it really exploded after Cam Hill had a really solid first inning, struggled with walks, and now that led to the 5 spot.
And now Tommy Barth, the man who led off this inning for the Mariners, steps in. Runners are on the corners, 2 gone, and the pitch is low and outside. Nine base runners for the Mariners so far this game, just 4 hits. Brooks Bryan sets up low and away. The pitch, it's too far low and away. 2-0. Schaefer with 16 starts for the Seahawks this past season, 16 starts the year before as well. Made his way into the starting rotation as a sophomore. Became a full-time starter his junior year, pitched all 16 of his appearances as starts, held a 4.62 ERA. 3-0 the count now to Tommy Barth. And a 5.99 ERA in 76 and 2/3 innings this year at UNCW, and as many starts for Jacob Schaefer. But recently graduated from UNCW, and he's headed to Duke this fall. 3-0 pitch. Schaefer trying to get over top, but they'll load the bases again. So Tommy Barth is on his way to first. That's exactly the way he led off this inning, with a 4-pitch walk.
Barth been extremely patient, hasn't gotten a pitch that he really can drive, but a good job of just keeping the line moving and handing it off to the next guy.
That's exactly what he does here with Vincent Fator stepping in, the Elon product. Also accepted a 4-pitch walk his first time up, and that was earlier on in this inning. It seems like that first pitch has been a struggle for the Kettleers so far, especially in this inning, Alex, where if you can't get that first pitch in the zone, really has you chasing the rest of the at-bat, it seems like. 1-0 pitch. Misses up and high and into Vincent Fator, a guy who went to Elon this past season and knocked 283 last summer for the Burlington Sock Puppets in the Appy League. Burlington Sock Puppets, that's an interesting one.
That's a very unique name.
2-0. Gets over top. Schaefer does. It's 2-1. Now you were with the Charlottesville High Toms?
No,
What team was
Charlottesville
that?
Tom Sox.
Tom Sox, that's what it was.
Another interesting name.
Yeah.
You
In
like
the
to see
Valley
these names, though, in summer
Yeah.
baseball. It definitely keeps it unique and interesting.
2-1 pitch. Low and outside. 3 balls, 1 strike. So just 1 ball away are the Mariners from making it a 6-1 ball game and drawing another walk in this inning. Schaefer peers in. The bases are loaded. Pitch clock reads 5 as he comes set. Releases it at 2. The 3-1 pitch is hammered on the ground back up the middle. Moutsaritas bobbles it. It gets through into center. 1 run is in. Another one coming in to score. Throws not going to be in time. And P.J. Moutsaritas has that ground ball eat him up, and it brings home 2 more for the Mariners.
Moutsaritas just took his eye off that ground ball, took a hop off the dirt, and just evaded his glove and heads up base running by the Mariners there to score 2 runs and now take a 7-1 lead.
Yeah, that's clearly one that He was maybe thinking about that underhand flip to his teammate Advincula at second, but maybe didn't see it all the way through into his glove, and as a result of it, the Mariners have a 6-run lead. So Jacob Schaefer dealing with runners on first and second. Sean Keys playing in the shadows at third, facing Jake Ogden, the third baseman. First pitch, gets underneath it, flares it into right center field. This one's trouble. That one's going to get down for a base hit. 1 run comes in to score. An 8-1 ball game. The Harwich Mariners make it on a Jake Ogden RBI single, and they just keep on batting around in the top of the second inning. So that was a guy who was 0 for 1 in the second inning, and now he's 1 for 2. Jake Ogden, fly out his first time up, an RBI single, plates home another one.
That ball just fell in no man's land there. He got jammed but lofted it out into the right center field gap and drops in for a hit. And I guess the saying, when it rains it pours, and it's pouring right now for the Kettleers.
Luckily we couldn't ask for a better weather, a better day for opening day baseball right now. Not a cloud in sight. Just a perfect setting to start off this 77th season of Kettleers baseball, but clearly not going the way that the Kets had envisioned it. The first pitch to Bristol Carter is hard hit on the ground to Advincula, up with it in the hole, throws to first in time for out number 3. Large cheer from the Cotuit faithful as they welcome their guys in after a long top of the second inning, where Harwich put up 8 runs on 5 hits and 1 error. We go to the bottom of the second inning. 8-1 Harwich leads on the Kets Digital Network. When the unexpected happens, make sure you and your assets are insured appropriately. The agents at Leonard Insurance Agency can tailor coverage to meet your needs. Call 508-428-6921 to talk to their licensed agents today.
Since 1995, MK Pasic Plumbing and Heating has been your trusted commercial and residential plumbing contractor in Massachusetts. They specialize in new and rehabilitation work, gas and pipe fitting, climate control, heating, HVAC, oil burner work, boiler installation, radiant heat, forced hot water, air conditioning, and duct and sheet metal fabrication services. Founded and owned by Michael Pasic, a team of 9 skilled professionals is dedicated to providing top quality service. MK Pasic Plumbing and Heating is registered with the Massachusetts Board of State Examiners of Plumbers and the Department of Public Safety. For all your plumbing and heating needs, contact MK Pasic.
Escape the summer heat at Polar Cave Ice Cream Parlor, located on Route 28 in Mashpee, right at the Barnstable town line. Our creamy, homemade ice cream flavors will delight your taste.
7, 8, and 9 due up in the bottom of the second inning for the Kettleers. 8-1 they trail it. And leading off, it'll be Tanner Thatch, a 2023 Kettleer, making his return for the 24 campaign. He's actually batting 6th in the lineup, 6, 7, and 8, and 9 if he's necessary. PJ Mutsaritas would be that man. Tanner Thatch, the first pitch he sees is up and away, ball 1. He'll be followed by Brooks Bryan and Jaron Advincula before the lineup card flips back over the top after Mutsaritas. So back out there is Griffin Kern, the left-hander. His 1-0 is in off the hands of Thatch, straightened out down the left field line, charging in Tommy Barth, making his way towards the line. He grabs out number 1. So plenty of pitches thrown by the Kettleers' arms in that second inning, being Cam Hill and Jacob Schaefer. Just 2 pitches to get the first out of the top of the second for Griffin Kern. So if you're Harwich, you have a guy in Griffin Kern who's making his first start of the season, a guy who pitched D2 the last couple years, making his transfer over to West Virginia in the fall. I mean, what more could you ask for you to settle in nicely into this ball game? An 8-1 cushion.
This is the perfect start that you could have. The bats are on fire. Your starter out on the mound worked through some trouble, did give up a run in the first inning, but is really settling into a groove here as he pours in a strike. This is the perfect situation that you want. You capitalized on the walks and the lack of command there from Cam Hill, and just doing all the little things to have a 7-run advantage.
Now, what do you think is key for the Kets to try to build some momentum to get back in this game?
I think you just have to get base runners, and you have to get one. Cotuit did a good job getting on the board, striking first in this game, taking the 1-0 advantage, but they need to do a good job getting on base, getting a hit. They've worked walks. Curran is a guy who also struggled with command, did issue the leadoff walk to Vu.
One hopper to second, up with it is Dickinson, and there's 2 gone.
But just putting together solid at-bats and building momentum off of that.
Well, one thing that really sticks out on the scoreboard right now, with 8 runs for Harwich, they have 5 hits. Cotuit with 1 run, no hits so far. Of course, we're only in the 2nd inning. A lot of baseball still left to be played, but Cotuit going to need to find a way to get those bats rolling. Jaron Advincula digs in. His first pitch that he sees is low and away. Advincula coming off a monster campaign at Cal Berkeley this year. First team all Pac-12 selection and a .325 hitter. Next pitch is up and away, 2 balls, no strikes. And Advincula really faced some adversity early on in his college career. His batting average was down at .237 just 10 games into college ball. Rebounded on that streak, going 4 for 10. After that weekend, he ropes this one down the third base line. That gets down for a base hit. Advincula rounds first. It's a first base hit of the day for the Kettleers with 2 gone in the bottom of the 2nd. Here's P.J. Mutsaritas. First pitch he sees, fastball down the heart of the plate, strike 1. So how about this 1-2 punch at the bottom of the Kets order? A couple Pac-12 first teamers, a couple middle infield freshmen out of Cal. The 0-1 pitch. Mutsaritas gets way under it, skies it on the infield. Michael Anderson into the infield grass. Hails down the 3rd out. So a quick inning for Griffin Kern. The Kets put 1 runner on base. They leave him there and still trail it 8-1 as we go into the top of the 3rd inning on the Kets Digital Network. And before the start of the 3rd inning, let's set things down for the first time to our sideline reporter, Adele Huffman. What do you have for us, Adele? Thanks, Adele. Some great information on Mike Roberts, who's moving into his 20th year as the Kettleers head coach. Of course, Mike Roberts really spearheading a lot of the work that's been done around Lowell Park these past few years, mainly the off-season work that was done on the entire playing surface up with all new grass, new dirt, fencing in the outfield, and
It's just gorgeous.
Cape Cod's Field of Dreams, as Cotuit public address announcer Roy Reese always says, to open up ball games. So Jacob Schaefer makes his way out for another inning of work. It's the top of the 3rd inning. Harwich leads it 8-1, and his first pitch is low and outside, ball 1. Ryan Weingartner will lead off for the Mariners in the top of the 3rd. They brought over the entire lineup to the plate last inning. 12 Mariners stepped up to the dish, starting off with Tommy Barth, who came back around to bat and walk in the same inning. He came around to score, so 2 runs scored for the leadoff batter an inning ago for the Mariners, something the Kets will clearly be trying to avoid in the third. 2-1 the count now to Weingartner. He's 0 for 1 on the day, struck out in the first inning, walked in the second. He too came around to score. 2-1. Just in off the hands of Weingartner. So as you brought up earlier, Alex, Weingartner headed to Penn State this year. The 3-1 pitch to him. He rolls over it towards third in foul ground, though. He's coming off a year where he was named to the Atlantic 10 first team. Really solid year at St. Joe's where he hit .316, drove in 58, and he led the league in runs scored.
He's a guy that you could put in any part of your lineup and really make an impact, especially as a leadoff hitter. You have a guy who flashes the power, also had 15 home runs to the 58 RBIs, but is also a hitter who can hit .316 in a season, get on base, and move the lineup up and down, so just a key piece to add.
3-2 pitch misses up high, and Weingartner's on his way to first for the second time today. 2 walks accepted by him, and that is the second straight frame where the Mariners are able to put their leadoff man on. And here comes Daniel Dickinson. Dangerous right-handed hitter out of Utah Valley. Batted with the bases loaded his last time up, but hit a sacrifice fly into left field. Was able to bring in a run. First pitch he sees. Right over the heart of the plate at 94 from Jacob Schaefer. It's 0-1.
Dickinson was the only player not to reach base. Even though he did have a productive at-bat, was the only player not to reach base for Harwich.
Singled in the first inning. Runner goes. Pitch is swung on and missed. The throw is offline. Had a chance to see that throw from Brooks Bryan. The first time we see him gun it down to second, trying to get Ryan Weingartner. And that was from his knees as well, so not enough time for him to pop up, but still a strong arm even from that right knee. 0-2 the count on Daniel Dickinson. Cracked into right center field, twisting towards the right fielder Ballou. He flags it down, fires that one in to keep the runner honest at second, and that's the first out of this top of the third inning. A nice job there by Jacob Schaefer just to get that, or to pitch to that contact, one that was low in the zone, not a pitch that he could maybe do too much with, but locating those pitches nicely early on in counts, I think, is something that hopefully the Kets can improve upon in order to get ahead of these batters maybe.
That was a really nice job by Schaefer. Like you mentioned, just pitching to contact and relying on your defense to get outs. These pitchers don't have to just really focus on doing it all themselves and use their defense, and it's a good strategy to have, and now let's see if they could do it for the rest of this inning.
We got a runner on second. First pitch to Michael Anderson is outside, but called strike one. Anderson out of Rhode Island, 6'3", 227-pound first baseman. Can also pitch, though, and has done a little bit of pitching at Rhode Island. Did not, though, this past season. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Schaefer. Hard hit right back up the middle into center field. That's a base hit for Anderson. Runner on second. Weingartner will hold up at third. They'll put runners on the corners with one gone for Cam Maldonado.
And Weingartner initially went back to the bag as he thought that ball had a chance of being caught. Didn't want to get doubled up, so didn't get the jump he would have liked. So he goes station to station, but they still have runners on the corners.
So Jacob Schaefer trying to get out of this inning just as the Kets were an inning ago, but no runs across so far. 8 runs scored for the Mariners in the top of the second, and now threatening to add more damage here with Cam Maldonado at the plate. Right-handed swinging Northeastern Husky with runners on the corners and the infielders pinching that bag at second, looking to turn two. You can see an interesting play there from Brooks Bryan behind the plate as that one was low in the dirt, a little bit outside, and he was maybe a little bit late on the fake, but faked as if that one got away from him. Try to draw the runners off guard a little bit. He lines up low and inside. The 1-0 pitch is sawed off on the ground past the diving Tanner Thatch into right. That'll score one more and make it a 9-1 ball game. An RBI single from Cam Maldonado, and the Mariners making an 8-run lead.
Maldonado just not doing too much there. Getting the ground ball base hit into right field, and this Mariner lineup just continues to pound these Cotuit pitchers.
You got to appreciate their aggressive approach at the plate. Not swinging at too many balls, but when they're thrown in the zone, really attacking, being aggressive at the plate is something that the Mariners have done really nicely so far in this game. Runners are on first and second, and Schaefer gets ahead of Macon Winslow with a nice 84-mile-an-hour breaking ball for strike one. So still one out in the frame, but ahead 0-1 in the count is Schaefer, and that's something that we talked about earlier, Alex, just trying to get ahead of these batters in order to work the pitches off that first strike. He gets one low and inside here, and it's 0-2.
And getting that first pitch strike is just so important for your pitcher out on the mound. Gives them momentum for the rest of the at-bat, and usually when you get one, you feel like you can get another, and leads to good results.
Schaefer's gotten two here on Macon Winslow. Counts 0-2 with one gone. Roll over to short. Moutsouridis is up with it. Flip to second for one. Advincula's relay to first is in time. So the Kettleers escape the top of the third inning. They allow one run to come in and score as we go to the bottom of the third on the Ketts Digital Network. 9-1 Ketts trail.
Plus, Kettleers kids get a free comb on home game days. Call us at 508-477-5553 or email info@polarcave.com to learn more. Come chill with us and experience the coolest treats on Cape Cod.
RCA Electric and Generators is dedicated to helping homeowners and building contractors select, purchase, install, and maintain the ideal generator for their specific needs. Since being founded by Randy Agnew in 1990, this Barnstable-based family-run business has grown its reputation by serving all of Cape Cod, the South Shore, and the South Coast. Get in touch today by reaching out to RCA at 508-428-0449 or visit in person at 153 Commercial Street in Mashpee.
With 30-plus years of personal injury litigation and insurance negotiation experience, Snow Law Firm is your go-to for wrongful injuries and rightful compensation. Snow Law Firm will secure the maximum amount of compensation available through settlement or trial. Schedule a free case evaluation by calling 508-477-7100.
It's Griffin Kern trailing in the ball game 9-1. First pitch is rolled on the ground towards second. Dickinson on the backhand on the run and in time at first to get Vu there. So one pitch, one out to start off this third inning for the Mariners, and that's really been more of the same. Alex, when you look back at last inning, two pitches to get the leadoff man Thatch, it seems like that's been maybe a way to settle Kern into these innings.
And Kern's doing a good job of throwing pitches that the Cotuit hitters want to see, but has a lot of movement on his opening pitches, and just getting ahead with strikes has really dictated his outing so far.
Do you think that maybe starting guys off with the off speed kind of helps him sequence better to throughout the rest of the count, maybe keep him off guard?
I think he's relying on what he feels most comfortable, and whether that's off speed or the fastball that he just went to start off this next at bat. It's giving him results, and he's varying it up to a lot of these different hitters, and they don't know what's coming out of the left arm of Griffin Kern.
That's true. When you have a guy who didn't have too much time or no time at all pitching in D1 baseball, there's a bit less information on him as well. Check swing there from Devin Taylor. He went around and he's behind in the count 1-2. Preseason All-American by perfect game, went on to fulfill that honor at the end of the year. An All-American this year at Indiana was Devin Taylor. 6'1" left-handed swinger. Goes down on strikes for the first time today. So that's the Second strikeout of the outing for Griffin Kern, has cruised through his first 8 outs so far. Allowed a hit, allowed a walk, an error, and no runs on the board for Cotuit. So here's Brandon Compton. He was able to reach. Second Cotuit Kettleer to make the base paths so far in this game, or was back in that first inning. He takes a strike one here, but laced one down the left field line that got down in front of the left fielder Tommy Barth, who thought he had a play on the ball, but the wind kind of knocked it down, and then Compton was able to advance around to second. One run came in to score, and that was when Cotuit had their only lead of this ball game, a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning. But Mariners quickly went on an 8-run tear in the top of the second frame, added one more in the top of the third, and the Cotuit has been silent ever since. So a 2-1 count to Brandon Compton. .67 for 189 this year at ASU was Compton, .354 hitter. Played his summer ball in the Northwoods in 2023. Takes a strike there at 2-2. Was a league leader in RBIs at Duluth. Played for the Duluth Huskies in 2023. Actually made the All-Star team and won the All-Star Game MVP. 2-2 pitch hit high into center field from Compton. Bristol Carter tracks back and flags down out number 3. Cotuit unable to put up any runs in the bottom of the third inning. They go 3 up, 3 down, 9-1 the score as we go into the top of the fourth inning on the Cats Digital Network.
Hi, this is Sean Keys, third baseman from Bucknell University, and you're listening to the Cotuit Kettleers Broadcast Network.
We'll welcome you back in for the top of the fourth inning. A new pitcher is on the mound for the Cotuit Kettleers, Aaron Meshulam, making another appearance after appearing in the Martha's Vineyard scrimmage a week ago. Comes in from the stretch and throws down in the zone to the leadoff man for the Mariners in this inning, Tommy Barth. East Tennessee State has accepted 2 walks already in this game, both in the second inning. Came around to score on each of those as well. A 9-1 Harwich lead, and the third pitcher already in the game for the Kettleers as Harwich is still playing it out with their starter Griffin Kern. Meshulam gets ahead there, and it's 1-1. 89 miles an hour on the gun, low and inside to Tommy Barth. 1-1 the count as Meshulam out of Michigan State, working in his first Kettleers game in the regular season. And he gets ahead here again. It's 1-2. 90 on the gun from Meshulam. 4.65 ERA this past year at Michigan State. Transferred out of Emory, a D3 school. Played 4 years there and then was able to transfer to the D1 level this season and had a pretty solid campaign. 2-2 the count now to Barth. Over 50 innings pitched for Meshulam this year, 50 even strikeouts to 14 walks. Here's the 2-2. Bounced up there, count runs full. So even despite some of these guys having really solid strikeout to walk ratios at school, clearly the Mariners have something figured out about reading these pitches from Cotuit throwers.
They've been extremely disciplined here, and you've seen Barth. He's worked 2 walks, has another full count here, and it's just waiting for their right pitch.
3-2 pitch. He reaches out over the plate and flares it towards that Vincula, who makes the grab by his left ear for out number 1. So for the first time today, Tommy Barth is retired after walking twice. And that'll bring up Vince Fator.
That was a big out to get for Meshulam there after allowing a run last inning, 8 in the second inning. You want to get that first batter out, give some confidence, especially coming out of the bullpen.
First pitch is a called strike 1 to Fator. Fator reached on a walk in the second inning, also reached on an error in the second inning, a ground ball that was at P.J. Moutsouridis on the infield. 2 more runs came in to score on that fielding error to make it a then 8-1 game, where Harwich was able to make it a 9-1 game in the third. 1-1 the count to Fator. Hit on the ground, a 1-hopper towards short. Moutsouridis is up with it, throwing for out number 2. So a quick second out for Aaron Meshulam. Hopefully a step in the right direction for Kett's pitching. Meshulam, 6'7", 210 on the mound, a massive right-handed reliever. Made 19 appearances for Michigan State this past season, 4 of which were starts. Surrendered 26 runs on 56 hits, but that strikeout to walk ratio, incredible, as mentioned before, 50-14. Ahead in the count here, 0-1 on Jake Ogden. He's 1 for 2 today, an RBI single in the second inning, a fly out in the second inning. 0-1. Barely misses low and outside.
Meshulam's doing a good job getting ahead of hitters. 2 of 3 of the hitters that he's faced so far, he's poured in a first pitch strike, and it's leading to a little bit of success.
A big chance here to get out of the inning. Would be the first 1-2-3 inning of the game for the Kettleers if he's able to get it right here with the count at 1-2. Infield, outfield straight up for Meshulam. Ties up the batter Ogden and goes into their dugout. This is a packed Lowell Park this afternoon and headed into the night. Fans all around the left side of this field and pretty much encapsulating the entire outfield as well, down either baseline. And a perfect day for baseball above Lowell Park. 1-2 pitch. And Ogden is able to stay alive. So Meshulam, the third pitcher in the game for the Kettleers. Cameron Hill entered the game through 62 pitches. Jacob Schaefer with 29 of his own. And now Meshulam, the third man in. Broken bat, slow roller on the ground for Meshulam. He'll glove it to first. And they have out number 3. So a nice PFP there by Aaron Meshulam, completed by Tanner Thatch at first. So they keep it a 9-1 score going into the bottom of the 4th. Kett's trailing 9-1 on the Kett's Digital Network. swinger out of Bucknell, with a chance against Griffin Kern for the second time today after flying out to deep center field in the first inning. Hard hit on the ground towards second. Daniel Dickinson has it. And a quick 1 pitch, 1 out for the Harwich Mariners. So if you combine the last 3 innings for Harwich, 4 pitches against the leadoff batter, all of which resulted in outs.
And Kern's just doing a really good job of pounding the strike zone right away, and these Cotuit hitters are rolling over, and Kern's allowing his defense to make the plays.
Here comes Max Ballou. Strikeout in his first plate appearance. Gets a hold of this one, sends a sky-high fly ball out to deep right center field. Back on it, Maldonado flags it down for out number 2. So that's efficient for Griffin Kern. Nobody warming up in the Harwich bullpen, and it'll definitely stay like that as long as he's this efficient. 2 pitches, 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. Brings up Tanner Thatch. And this is a middle of the lineup, Alex, that teams should be scared of when they look at the lineup card. Initially seeing Sean Keys, Max Ballou, Tanner Thatch at the heart of this order. All guys who pounded over 15 homers this year at their respective schools and batted well over 300. Thatch takes, it's 1-1. But no hits from any of those guys so far today. This is the second at-bat taken by Tanner Thatch. Flew out to left field his first time up. 1-1. Underneath this one on the infield, first baseman Anderson ranges in, called off by Dickinson, who makes the catch for the 3rd out. So a quick inning for Harwich in the bottom of the 4th inning. And before we send it to the top of the 5th, let's take a look at Adele Huffman's interview with Sean Keys from earlier this week.
Hey guys, my name's Adele Huffman, and I'm here with one of our infielders, Sean Keys, coming all the way from Bucknell University. Sean, would you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sean Keys. I played third base from Bucknell University. I'm from Long Island, New York.
Awesome. So, Sean, this is your 2nd year with the Kets. So what makes Cotuit so special to you, and why'd you come back for a 2nd year?
I truly enjoyed playing up here. It's the true definition of summer ball, of just having fun, playing for the love of the game, and also just learning a lot. Coach Roberts has a ton of experience and learning a lot to improve for the future.
Absolutely. We love it here. Is there something on the Cape that you love to do outside of baseball that you're looking forward to doing again this summer?
Yeah, luckily my host's family has a boat. I've been out on it a couple times, but it's a lot of fun, either going over to Martha's Vineyard or fishing out off the Cape.
Awesome. So, Sean, when did you start playing baseball? Tell us a little bit about your journey.
As young as I can remember, playing in Little League. My mom was one of the assistant coaches along with my friend's dad. And then all throughout high school, and then eventually got the opportunity to go to Bucknell and still played there. So it's been my whole life.
Do you have a specific role model or coach who has really influenced your game?
It's a tough question. I don't know. I think my parents have always been an important role model for me. And I mean, all the coaches I've had have helped me along the way, helped me grow as a person and as a player. So I thank all of them.
Absolutely. And with head coach Mike Roberts, is there something specific that you're looking to improve on to take back with you?
Definitely on the defense.
Sorry to cut you off, Sean. We start off this top of the 5th inning with Aaron Meshulam back out onto the mound. A 9-1 ball game. Kettleers trailing. Meshulam's first pitch is a breaking ball in there for strike 1. Bristol Carter is the batter, 9-man in this order. Spent last season at East Carolina. The 0-1 pitch is right down the middle, strike 2.
Meshulam doing a good job pouring in those first pitch strikes. Talked about it a little bit the end of last inning. Just doing a good job getting ahead of these hitters.
0-2 pitch and a protection swing from Carter that time. Allows him to stay alive at 0-2. Carter was the number 57 incoming freshman nationally this year for all of college baseball. Number 1 in the AAC. Next pitch is a broken bat off of his front leg. And we mentioned earlier, he's another one of those guys who's not wearing that ankle guard. But of course headed back to the dugout because his bat split into two there. Looks like there's still some pieces right out in front of home plate right there.
Yeah, that was a fastball that really came in off in the hands of Carter, and you could still see him shaking out his left leg right by the dugout as he gets a new bat. Definitely some pain as Meshulam brought the heat on the inside corner.
Carter at East Carolina this year, currently in the transfer portal though. Was part of an ECU team that hosted a regional this year. Was able to play in 2 of the Pirates' 5 games played in that regional. Evansville winning game 1 in the round robin 4-1. ECU was able to beat Wake in their second game 7-6. But Evansville was able to go on and win against VCU. ECU, East Carolina, also beat Virginia Commonwealth, so they both advanced to the final game where East Carolina got back on Evansville 19-6, but they had to win twice. Rolled on the ground towards Advincula, up with it throwing to first in time to get the speedy Carter running up the first base line. But then Evansville escaped that second game with a 6-5 win, so they're able to advance. So even after that 19-6 win in game 1, Alex, they still had a chance. Evansville did, and I guess that's just the beauty of college baseball, is that one team can blow you out by almost a couple touchdowns in the first game, and then it can be a narrow 6-5 win the other way in the afternoon matinee.
And you never know what you can
No.
get from college baseball, but that's what makes it so enjoyable and why we all like to follow along with it. So
2 balls, no strikes here to Ryan Weingartner. Accepted 2 walks today, struck out in the first. 2 runs scored. Meshulam behind 2-0, and he gets over the top there, but barely misses low and outside. 3 balls, no strikes. So some fans may have noticed there's a completely new look website for the Cape League this season. 3-0 pitch is up and inside, called to strike 1. Completely new stats online for capeleague.com. If you go to capeleague.com/gameday/Mariners versus Kettleers, it'll bring you right up to the live stats for this ball game. Rolled on the ground towards Advincula, it's out of his reach and into right field for a single. Ryan Weingartner reaches base for the 3rd time today, but gets his first base knock, so improves to 1 for 2 with 2 walks.
that's exactly what you want from your leadoff hitter there, continuing to get on base and have runners on base for the 3, 4, 5 hitters in the lineup, and that's what has led to success for Harwich.
Yeah, it really has, that top of the lineup, and then as you continue down, everybody seemingly has been able to at least put in some quality at-bats. So here's Daniel Dickinson. Rolled on the ground towards Sean Keys, up with it throwing on the run, and he has Dickinson out at first for the 2nd time today. So he singled in the first inning, was able to knock a sacrifice fly with an RBI, flew out and now grounded out as Daniel Dickinson. A couple of groundouts and a single in the 4th inning here for Harwich. Aaron Meshulam now dealing with a runner in scoring position. So completely new stat overhaul in the Cape Cod Baseball League, where you can find your stats just as you would on MLB.com, where they'll have that pitcher diagram where you can see where each and every pitch ends up in the zone. Right at your fingertips. Line drive through the right side of the infield, a base hit. Weingartner coming around will score from 3rd. Throw is offline, and it's a 10-1 ball game off of an RBI single from Michael Anderson. So he improves to 3 for 4 on the day.
And he's really been productive, doing all the little things there, picking up an RBI single. That's his 2nd RBI so far. And we talked about the 3, 4, 5 hitters in this Harwich lineup, 5 total RBIs, and it's exactly what you want from the meat of your lineup, driving in runs, and they're doing that so far in game 1.
Everybody but 2 batters in this Harwich lineup has a hit, including the man here, Cam Maldonado. He's 1 for 1 with 2 walks. And cuts and misses at a first pitch breaking ball 80 miles an hour from Aaron Meshulam. 0-1 the count now on Maldonado as Harwich leads it 10-1 with 9 hits. 1 error, couple left on base. 1 run on a hit for the Kettleers and an error for them as well. Anderson has his lead at first. Meshulam ready, the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball that falls in, called strike 3. So 3 pitches gets Cam Maldonado to end the top of the 4th inning. Aaron Meshulam able to escape that frame, giving up 1 run as Harwich makes it a 10-1 lead. We go into the bottom of the 4th on the Cats Digital Network.
For over 40 years, Vollmer & Son Construction has proudly served its community, providing a wide range of construction services, from bathroom renovations to complete home remodels. When you work with Vollmer & Son, you are being taken care of by natives of Cape Cod who support the community by using local suppliers and subcontractors. Vollmer & Son Construction, a proud sponsor of the Cotuit Kettleers.
Willowbend has been regarded as one of Cape Cod's and New England's premier private clubs and communities for over 25 years. Willowbend is a family-friendly community right here in Cotuit. They strive for a fun and relaxed lifestyle with good times and good friends. Discover all that and more at
And now with the start of the bottom of the 5th inning, Brooks Bryan will be leading things off for the Kettleers. And with that, I'll be sending things over to Alex Rocco with the play-by-play from here on out.
Thank you, Joe.
Of course.
7-8-9 upcoming in Cotuit's lineup. Still facing the starting pitcher, Griffin Kern, as the first pitch fastball waved through for strike number 1 to Brooks Bryan. Bryan 0 for 1 on the day, grounded out to second. Back in the 2nd inning as the next offering waved through on the breaking ball. And Kern quickly up in the count, 0-2. Kern's 0-2 pitch off speed on the outside corner. Checked his swing as Bryan. So the count now moves to 1-2. Cotuit just 1 hit so far through 4 innings as this one spiked in the dirt, hauled in by the catcher Winslow. But Cotuit 1 run on 8 hits, Harwich 10 runs on 9. Next offering off the plate. The count runs full here to the leadoff man Bryan. The full count pitch. This one lined down the right field line, and that's fair. Bryan takes a turnaround first. He'll head into second with a leadoff double. And just like that, Cotuit picks up hit number 2 on the afternoon.
Yeah, what a great piece of hitting from Brooks Bryan. Gets a pitch low and inside, ropes it down that first base line. That's something that the Kettleers have really been working a lot on in batting practice this week. Coach Mike Roberts have been showing them their cheat swings where they'll stand there and just trying to hit balls down either line on the pull side, and that's exactly what Brooks Bryan did there. Pulled off a little cheat swing and tucked it in down the first base line. So just what they needed, a leadoff double.
Bryan was the first man to reach base since the 2nd inning, where Jaron Advincula, who's up right now, he singled. But snaps a streak of 7 retired for Kern as the first pitch to Advincula off the plate for ball 1. Advincula 1 for 1 today. was productive in Cotuit's 2 scrimmages. As the 1-0, that one runs in on him. Tried to check his swing, but ricochets off the bat, so the count is even at 1-1. Advincula, the star middle infielder from Cal Berkeley, grounds this one to the third baseman Ogden, who comes up with it cleanly, makes the strong throw over to first base for out number 1. So Advincula sit down for out number 1. That brings up his college teammate PJ Mutsaridis. Mutsaridis 0 for 1, popped up to end the second inning. Now digs in for his second at-bat here. First pitch squares around a bunt, now pulls back in there for strike 1. Kern out of the stretch, checks the runner Brian, now deals the 0-1. Misses for ball 1. Two and 1 is the count now to Mutsaridis, as Kern, unlike the Cotuit pitchers, has really done a nice job attacking early and only 1 walk so far.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like he's really comfortable out there and has been, especially when you're given that 8-1 cushion after that first inning.
The 2-1 in there for strike 2, even in the count at 2-2.
So maybe what nerves he might have had in that first inning of work, his bats, or the bats for Harwich, were able to go out there and put up 8 runs. So the second time he got out there, I mean, it just must have been smooth sailing for him, because he doesn't have to think too much about pitching in a 1-run game or a 1-1 tie, because his guys were able to put up 8 runs in that inning just to quickly settle him in. So this is just a perfect scenario right now if you're Griffin Kern.
The full count pitch, skied down the right field line and out of play into the trees. So we'll do the full count pitch once more. Cotuit did have a 1-0 lead after the first inning, but as you mentioned, Joe, an 8 spot in the top of the second, and it's been all Harwich from there. They tacked on another run coming back in the third. And as Brian takes off for third, the throw down there, he slides in safely. So Mutsaridis works a walk, and Brooks Bryan moves up 90 feet as Cotuit has runners on the corners with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, it's not often you see a runner on second with nobody on first taking off on a full count pitch, especially with just 1 out in the inning, but that's Mike Roberts baseball. And for Brooks Bryan, he's lucky that that one was slightly pulled up the line by Macon Winslow, the catcher, because he's likely cut down trying to steal that bag. It was a great throw from Winslow. It would have got there in time, but it was just a little bit pulled up that left field line, and Bryan was able to get in safely. So now they're threatening with runners on the corners, and with a right-hander warming up in the Harwich bullpen, we'll see how much longer Kern is left in this ball game. We'll see Steve Englert right now just talking things over with the third baseman and catcher, just trying to talk things before what would be a Kian Vu at bat, but it looks like this is going to be A.J. Gracia.
So A.J. Gracia pinch hitting for Kian Vu. Vu was 0 for 1. Walked and stole a base back in the first inning and grounded out to second back in the third, but it is the pinch hitter here. So Kern stays in the game to face the lefty. The first pitch downstairs for ball 1. Went with the breaking ball to begin the at-bat. Gracia coming in after his freshman year from Duke, where he really dominated, hit .305 in 60 starts. Also had 14 home runs, 58 RBIs.
Yeah, those 14 homers was a Duke freshman record. Incredible campaign for the freshman this year at Duke.
Pitch runs high in there to him. Runners on the corners. Bryan stands at third. Mutsaridis after his walk at first. 2-0 to Gracia. In there for strike one as he watches the pitch clip the outside corner. The 2-1. At one in there and clips the zone. So from 2-0 to 2-2 we go, as the count is even here with one out in the inning. Kern looking for the put-away pitch, and he gets it. Breaking ball fends Gracia as he sat down for out number 2.
Yeah, and it was a perfectly located breaking ball, especially after the first few pitches in the at-bat were located down and away to Gracia. One of them missed, but 2 of them were dotted in there for strikes. And then just takes the breaking ball low and inside, and Gracia is able to get a piece of it, but he swings over it, and it's tipped into the glove of Winslow. And a massive strikeout for Griffin Kern. So now there's 2 outs with another pinch hitter at the plate and runners on the corners.
So back-to-back pinch hitters for Mike Roberts' squad. This pinch hitter is now Grant Jay. He's coming in for Devin Taylor. It was 0 for 2 with a strikeout as Jay swings to the first pitch from Kern.
And kind of a half-hearted swing right there from Grant Jay, which is interesting to see for a guy who had a stellar year at DBU this past season. Over 20 bombs.
Mutsaritas taking off for second. The throw down, that gets into center field. Coming in to score is Brian as Mutsaritas advances 90 feet. And now he stands at third, and it's a 10-2 ball game. Aggressive base run in there from the Kets.
Yeah, I mean, when you can't get a run since the first inning, Mike Roberts is going to really try to get just one run on the board, one at a time in any way possible. And right there with 2 outs in the inning, sends both runners, and it pays off perfectly. Ball gets away, and that's just forcing the Mariners to make a mistake right there.
Jay, another big swing there, comes up with nothing but air. And Kern is 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. The 1-2 pitch, fastball, misses above the belt for ball 2. The 2-2, fastball, got him looking. Griffin Kern paints the inside corner as Grant Jay sat down for the third out of the inning. But we'll keep it here as Adele Huffman joins us again to talk more about head coach Mike Roberts.
All right, thank you, Alex. Yes, it is head coach Mike Roberts' 20th anniversary here with the Kets this year. It is his 40th year in the league, which he has also been with the Wareham Gatemen. So let's go ahead and take a look back at his timeline. So he began his career with the Carolina Tar Heels, and then he continued on to play pro ball, returning back to the Carolina Tar Heels as a head coach, and then coming up to the Cape to play here, or to coach here for us. And we are so happy to have him for 20 years.
Build players up while they're here. Of course, being here, it's about winning games, it's about trying to win championships, but it's also about developing skills. And you'll obviously hear Mike Roberts throughout the rest of the season, and he'll say it to his players. They're here to polish their skills, and that's really what Mike Roberts, that's what his #1 priority is when players come into town. And I think, you know, you can't really ask for much more from a head coach, just trying to develop players, develop people. And I think you've really seen that as plenty of names that he's coached who moved on into the major leagues.
And especially during summer baseball, these guys are only here for 1 or 2 months and really just coming together and playing as a team. You see him doing a lot of team building activities. Saw him have the team do a couple of dance moves last night. So it's just all those bonding activities that gets a team closer that could lead to championships or wins down the line.
Yeah, it was dance moves, and it was karaoke last night, right? At the Kettleers host family picnic. So what was your favorite karaoke song, Adele?
My favorite karaoke song had to be Sweet Caroline. They really got the crowd going.
Yep.
I think that was a good pick from our boys. What about you, Joe? Did you have a favorite?
I mean, can't beat Sweet Caroline. I really liked it when a couple of the players came out and sang karaoke to Tequila.
That was also a good pick.
That's a really good pick for karaoke. I think I'm going to steal that one.
I was just about to ask, what's your Winslow 1 for 3 today. It's the 0-1 Fastball paints the outside corner for strike 2. Pierce made 14 relief appearances at William & Mary, also had 4 starts, went 43 innings, and pitched to the tune of a 3.77 ERA as this one chopped down the ground to the shortstop Mutsaridis. Comes up cleanly, makes a throw in time to nab Winslow at first for the first out of the inning.
And a nice play there made by the new shortstop. We got a new middle infield look there for the Kettleers. So Nick Rodriguez will enter the game and play second base for Jaron Advincula. And Tyler Cerny out of Indiana will defensively substitute for PJ Mutsaridis. And a nice play made, not leaving anything too high up out over the plate for one of these Mariners to get a hold of. And just letting your defense do the work. I think that's the key.
There's Vince Fator. First pitch to him. Misses low and outside for ball 1. Fator 0 for 2 today. Has walked and also scored a run. That came back in the 8-run second inning for the Mariners, as the next offering from Pierce runs too far in tight for ball 2. The 2-0. Breaking ball, lost the handle on it. Now Fator sitting in the driver's seat up 3-0. The 3-0. Fastball taken for strike number 1. Pierce looking to limit the damage coming out of the bullpen. Breaking ball gets the swing and miss from Fator. There's 1 out away from working a clean at the top of the 6th. The full count pitch. This one skied into center field. And making the grab is Kian Vu out in center field. But that'll do it for Owen Pierce as he works a 1-2-3 top of the 6th. And we head to the bottom half of the inning with the Cats still trailing. Stay tuned for more here on the Kettleers Digital Network.
Shirts, Oxford shirts, jackets, t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and bags. Advanced Embroidery will print your company's or team's logos anywhere. Thousands of satisfied customers can attest for Advanced Embroidery's attentive customer service, tight quality control, and quick turnaround time. They're open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday on 38 Plant Road in Hyannis.
Griffin Kern's day is done as Harwich goes to the bullpen here, leading 10-2 in the bottom of the 6th. This one chopped right on the ground and sat down for out number 1 is Brandon Compton. So 1 pitch, 1 out. Just like that, Harwich continuing to roll out on the mound.
Yeah, new pitcher Peter Haas into the game out of Stonehill College in Hancock, New Hampshire. 6 foot, 190-pound reliever in for the Mariners, facing this hard-hitting middle of the lineup for the Kettleers that has been held silent today.
Sean Keys, the third baseman, he's 0 for 2 today as the first pitch from Haas misses for ball 1. But Kern went 5 innings, 2 earned runs, walked a pair of Kettleers, and also struck out 4. Threw 72 pitches in those 5 innings. Now goes way to Haas as Keys skies this one in the air. Giving it a chase is the third baseman Ogden, who battling the fence makes the grab. Right near the wall there, so 2 quick outs for Haas to begin the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, and Sean Keys just has nothing to say as he's walking back to the dugout right there. He can't believe Ogden was able to come away with that ball, and his counterpart at third clearly showing some respect there because that was a really tough play to make. And Peter Haas on the mound, first reliever out of the pen for Harwich today. And it's gone pretty nicely so far.
Ogden really had to do a good job battling the fences. Max Ballou fouls the first pitch straight back. Looked like the wind was going to carry that out of play, but took it back at the last minute and making a... The 0-1 from Haas nearly runs in and drills Ballou. He gets out of the way. Ballou 0 for 2, struck out swinging that ended the first inning. Also flew out to right field back in the third. But 1-1 is the count here from Haas as this one grounded right to the first baseman Anderson, but that takes a high hop off of him. Ballou with a wide turnaround first base, now a retreat, dives back in head first safely into the bag. But he reaches with a 2-out single.
You know, that's not the first time we've seen one of those crazy hops on this new infield, Alex. That was one that was a 2-hopper in the grass, and then the third hop took a bounce and ramped up just off of the edge of the cutlet of the grass. And so that just eats up the first baseman, Michael Anderson, as it just pops up like a trampoline over his right shoulder, and he has no chance of getting up to that one.
As Chris Arroyo inserted into the game, now playing first, waves through the first pitch from Haas. Ballou single, just the third hit of the ball game so far for Cotuit, as they still trail 10-2. The 0-1 misses low for a ball. Arroyo transferring to UVA this year, coming off of a great season at Pasco Hernandez. 1-1 chopped foul. Runs the count to 1-2.
Oh, an interesting thing about Peter Haas, the pitcher, he's from Keene, New Hampshire, also played for the Keene Swamp Bats of the New England Collegiate League, 4.82 ERA last summer, so playing for his hometown team. Don't see that every day.
The 1-2 pitch off the plate, evening the count at 2-2. Like to see those homecoming stories though. Must feel good playing at home, have your family come to games. Haas attends Stonehill.
And you have to assume that he was going to Swamp Bats games growing up and seeing those.
Ballou, the throw down to second. In time, they got him. Macon Winslow showing off the cannon as Max Ballou gunned down for the third out of the inning. But we head to the top of the 7th with Harwich still leading 10-2.
Jackets over there. 1-1 game. They got a runner on third, though, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th does YD. Cotuit will be playing them on Tuesday for the second home game at Lowell Park. Falmouth and Hyannis just getting underway. 0-0 the score there in the bottom of the 4th.
This one chopped up the middle and through for a leadoff single. Jake Ogden. He's on for the second time today with a pair of singles.
Yeah, Ogden been doing it all. 2 for 3 and RBI. Played a really solid third base as well, including that nice catch just along the fence line last inning to get Sean Keys. And a nice job there for them to put that leadoff runner on base again. They've done that 3 times now.
Here's Bristol Carter swinging away at the first pitch, lines that into right field. AJ Gracia comes up fields, throw into the infield. The cutoff man, Cerny. But 2 quick hits for Harwich as Ogden moves up to second, Carter stands on first, and we head to the top of the order with Ryan Weingartner.
5-0 lead for Chatham over Wareham right now over at Spillane Field. Bottom of the 3rd, Orleans playing at Bourne. 1-0 score there in the bottom of the 4th. We'll be at Orleans tomorrow.
That's the game that I'm looking forward to tonight. 2 really good teams. Should be a fun one there. First pitch from Pierce, breaking ball. Well outs for 2 today. Has a pair of walks, also has scored 3 times. Also swiped a bag, that came back in the 3rd inning. The 1-0. Fastball in there for strike 1.
Yeah, I think that's a rematch of last year's championship series. Is
It
that
is.
right? Orleans and Bourne. 2 really solid teams, but 2 teams that just got hot when they needed it most at the end of last season.
Pierce, the 1-1 in there for strike 2. That's another great thing about baseball. It doesn't matter how your regular season goes. If you catch fire toward the end, you can really ride that. And in Bourne's case, pick up a title.
Yeah, I think Cotuit has learned that lesson time and time again.
The 1-2
Especially-
got him swinging.
Sorry to cut you off there. I was going to say just especially these past few years. But I mean, I think Bourne is a team that has just been able to stack up with guys who are willing to take the rest of the season to go win a championship. And I think sometimes that's what it takes when you want to make a deep run, is having everyone bought in. And boy, that was a team that was bought in last year.
Really fun run to watch from afar, and for you especially to be in that. Really good playoff baseball here out on the Cape. The next hitter is Daniel Dickinson. First pitch, he moves out of the way for ball 1. Dickinson 1 for 3. Singled back in the first inning, also swiped a bag. Comes up with runners on first and second, looking to extend the Mariners' 8-run advantage here. Pierce's next offering off the plate for ball 2. Tried to nab the outside corner there. Does not get the call. Pierce takes a look at the runners. Now kicks and deals the 2-0. This one flared into right field. Gracia gets underneath it as both runners retreat back to the bag. So back-to-back outs for Owen Pierce out on the bump, and that brings up the 3-hole hitter Michael Anderson.
More of what we saw last inning from Pierce, locating it down in the zone, pitching to weak contact. That one flared out to right field. 2 flyouts an inning ago and a ground out. We'll be looking for more of that right here, especially with the runners on first and second, and now over 10 hits on the day for Harwich.
First pitch to Anderson in there for strike 1. Harwich 10 runs on 11 hits, also 2 errors. Cotuit 2 runs on 3 hits and an error. Anderson has 3 of those 11 hits, 3 singles as he's 3 for 4. 1-1 is his account. And Anderson's really been doing a nice job in the 3-hole, moving the lineup along and coming up with a pair of really big hits. 1-1. This one skied in the right field, giving it a run is Gracia. He will look up, and that ball is gone. Michael Anderson have a day as he's now 4 for 5, and a 3-run shot puts Harwich up 13-2 here in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, well, he did that 13 times this year at Rhode Island, did Michael Anderson, in his first on the summer so far this season. One that was tied up and off of his hands, and he fights that one off way out to right center field. It cleared that fence by maybe about 5 to 10 feet, not too much, but enough to get out and make this a 13-2 ball game. Now we're seeing a few Kettleers fans make their way to the parking lot as this game continues to become a bit more out of reach for Cotuit.
Anderson now 4 for 5 with 5 RBIs. What a way to open up the year for the slugging first baseman, as now that brings up Cam Maldonado. Maldonado 1 for 2, pair of walks, and an RBI. The 1-0 misses outside for ball 2. Just about to mention that Pierce and Mishulam have done a good job stabilizing the Mariner lineup as this one lofted into center field. Max Ballou gets under it, makes the catch for out number 3, but not before Harwich tacks on another 3 runs, courtesy of a 3-run shot from Michael Anderson, as they take a 13-2 lead here into the bottom of the 7th. You're watching Cotuit Baseball here on the Kettleers Baseball Network.
Since 1980, the O'Rourke family has been catering Cape Cod clam bakes, making your events delicious and memorable. Founded by Jake O'Rourke, Jake's Clam Bakes has become a beloved tradition, now carried on by his son, Dan. Choose from our menu options, and on the day of your clam bake, their crew will come to your site and steam a fresh, mouth-watering clam bake just for you. It's that easy. Call us at 833-252-6285 or visit our new takeout location at Building 6 on 3821 Route 28 in Marston's Mills. Email us at dan@jakesclambakes.com with your event details, number of guests, date, time, location, and any special requests like a raw bar, homemade desserts, or kids menu. Not catering? Try their takeout menu featuring lobster rolls, smash burgers.
Peter Haas back out on the mound for his second inning of work, now facing Chris Arroyo. Arroyo was at the dish before his at-bat got cut short after Max Ballou was nabbed, attempting to steal second as Arroyo waves to the first pitch breaking ball for strike 1. Arroyo fouls this one behind home plate, and he's quickly behind on the count 0-2 in his first at-bat of the summer. The 0-2 pitch misses low and outside for ball 1. Arroyo played in the Valley League last year with Charlottesville, hit .367 in 22 games as he sat down for out number 1 after the punch out from Peter Haas.
Great finishing pitch from Haas right there, low and outside. Would have been a strike, though, according to CapeCodLeague.com and the live stats, dotted on the low and outside corner there. Not much you can do with that if you're Chris Arroyo. Just try to get a piece of your wood on it, but he can't quite keep up to it, and then it's the first out of this inning.
Pinch hitter now for Cotuit, Matt Klein. He's coming in for the catcher, Brooks Bryan. Bryan went 1 for 2, doubled and scored in his last at bat. That came in the 5th inning as Klein chops this one on the ground. The shortstop throw in time as Klein sat down for out number 2.
Well, as we move on throughout the rest of this game, you know, the odds of winning are likely slim, but getting a lot of chances to see some guys who maybe wouldn't have been in this game had it been a 3-2 or a tighter contest. But plenty of Kettleers guys who are on the bench, didn't get the start today, are able to get some looks at the plate. Another one being Nick Rodriguez. We just saw Matt Klein and Chris Arroyo. So if there's some positives to take away from it, it's that a lot of different Ketts can swing the bat and play in the field today.
Including one in the on-deck circle, Tyler Cerny, as this one grounded down the first base line, but foul. Just foul after the diving attempt from Anderson. Definitely good to get a lot of your guys early reps. Game 1 of a long season upcoming. As Harwich has gotten off on the right foot, up 13-2. An offensive explosion with 12 hits so far. Next offering from Haas. Ball 2. Count now moves to 2-1 to Rodriguez. Rodriguez, the Missouri State product. Tried to check his swing there to no avail. Took a weird bounce, too.
Yeah, it did. It took a nasty kick off the right shoulder of the catcher Winslow. A lot of spin on that ball.
The 2-2, this one grounded up the middle. Diving attempt from the second baseman Dickinson. That one ricochets off of his glove and goes into center field. So Rodriguez is on with a 2-out single. That brings up the shortstop Tyler Cerny.
Get another look at Tyler Cerny, a guy who had an incredible first season at Indiana, where he was able to hit or reach safely in 46 of his 59 games played, was part of the all Big Ten freshman team. Went on to have a really solid year 2 as well.
And Cerny and fellow Kettleer Devin Taylor, who had 2 at-bats earlier in this game, really balance out the middle of the Hoosier attack. As Cerny's quickly down on the count 0-2 to Haas.
And that was just a packed Indiana lineup this year. Plenty of guys who could hit the ball out of the park, but mostly just guys who did a great job of getting on base. They played great defense as well.
The 0-2 to Cerny. This one rocketed down the third base line, but just foul.
And that roster, of course, featuring former Kettleers Josh Pine, a third baseman. Carter Matheson plays in center field. Both started at this year at Indiana, alongside Devin Taylor and Tyler Cerny. I mean, just saying those names in that lineup is pretty incredible, but some of the other guys that they had going for them, including them.
Just a dangerous lineup as this one's popped up and grabbed by the second baseman Dickinson for out number 3. So the 2-out single from Nick Rodriguez does not come back to bite Peter Haas as we head to the top of the 8th with Harwich still leading 13-2.
Well, I think since this is Harwich is due up, and now we have just recently gotten word from the crew chief, Mr. Robert McHugh, that run rule after 7 innings, just like in college ball of over 10, calls the game. And so that's going to do it for this one here tonight on opening day. The first loss for the Cotuit Kettleers on opening day since 2016, and coincidentally that was a game that they lost against the Harwich Mariners at White House Field. So not the result they were looking for on opening day, but clearly some things to take from this one moving on throughout the rest of the season, and especially throughout this first week of the regular season.
There were things that Cotuit did well, worked a couple of at-bats that worked long at-bats. They had 4 hits, only brought across 2 runs, but Harwich explodes 13 runs on 12 hits, 2 errors. Cotuit 2 runs on 4 hits and an error, but it really all goes back to that top of the second inning when Cotuit was leading 1-0, put across a run in the bottom of the first, but just this Harwich lineup came to play, and you saw that in the second inning.
Yeah, I mean, you really did, and from there was just no offense to show for the Kettleers, just 4 hits on the board, and I mean, when you can explode early on in a game with 8 runs and then your pitcher is able to just continue to shut down the Kettleers batters the way he did in Griffin Kern, which he did so beautifully for 5 innings. I mean, that just takes the wind out of your sails as an offense where you can't develop any sort of momentum in the first 4 innings pitched, and I think it's interesting to note that a lot of these guys haven't played a competitive baseball game since their final college game. So that could have been at the beginning of May, that could have been at the end of May, that could have been 1 week ago for all we know for some of these guys. But I think that's something that you need to take into account when you're thrust back into the real game situation and live action situation, and Harwich clearly was the team that was more ready to get back into live action baseball today.
And you saw the middle of the Mariners lineup really explode as Michael Anderson, 4 for 5 with 5 RBIs, had that 3-run home run back in the top of the 7th that proved to be the final blow that led to the 11-run victory. But just getting contributions up and down the lineup, just 2 players that were held hitless, that Tommy Barth and Vince Fator, but both reached twice each. So these guys getting on base, moving the chains, really doing a good job.
Exactly. It seemed like everybody in this lineup was able to reach base not once but twice. Only 2 guys reached base 1 time in this game. Everybody else was able to reach base more than 1 time. So if you're a pitching staff and if you're a team going up against that, well, your chances of winning that game are slim to none. And for Cotuit, they just needed a much better start than they got. And I mean, when you put that first runner on base and bring him around to score, that's pretty promising for the rest of the game. But you said it best, Alex. That second inning proves to be the difference in this one. But of course, the Mariners able to pile on runs in seemingly each and every inning after that, including the 3 in the top of the 7th, which proved the second 2 innings in this game, 8 and 9, to just be unnecessary because that brought it to the 13-2 score, enough for that run rule.
But even still, Harwich got great contributions out on the mound from Griffin Kern. He went 5 innings, allowed 2 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 4. And Peter Haas out of the bullpen, 2 innings, 2 hits, struck out 1. And great pitching, great offense leads to the 11-run victory.
Yeah, it really does. Great pitching like that, you should win pretty much every game you play in, and especially in this baseball league where a lot of guys are coming from their college seasons where they've gotten used to batting with the metal bats and making the transition to wood bats. And so clearly offensively, sometimes teams take a bit of a slow start or take a bit more time to get going at the start of the season because of that adjustment, but Harwich clearly showing no growing pains in making that transition. And so for them, they have a lot to take from and moving on for the rest of this season. And for Cotuit, they have a lot to take from in tomorrow's game against Orleans, against an Orleans team that's looking really, really incredible as we move into this season, because they're coming off of a year with a championship run and bringing quite a few returners back to their team as well, and they're looking to make another championship run. And take a look at that score for Orleans right now, currently still leading Wareham 5-0 in that game. So we'll definitely be continuing to follow that one and hopefully bring some good baseball tomorrow from Eldridge Park.
You talked about Cotuit. How do they rebound after a 13-2 loss in a packed crowd here at Lowell Park? Fans really showed out for this one, and Cotuit just struggled.
Well, you obviously want to be able to throw more strikes from your starting pitcher. You would hope that Cameron Hill would have been able to go 3-4 innings into this ball game, but he's out of the game before the end of the second inning. So if you're Cotuit tomorrow, you're definitely going to want your starter to really go out there and eat up some innings, throw strikes, but really not try to do too much out there, not try to go out there and throw 7 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts. It's more about pitching to contact and letting your defense do the work, because as we saw today, when you put runners on and runners on when they don't need to be on, putting free base runners on base in terms of walks, errors, well, that just doesn't bode well for your team defensively in terms of how well they play throughout the rest of the game and how they handle situations putting them in difficult situations with runners on first and second constantly, runners on the corners constantly, is just not something you want to put your defense, or you don't want to put your defense under those circumstances. And for pitchers, got to be able to hit the strike zone, and that first pitch strike is going to be massive.
And Cam Hill went 1 2/3 innings pitched today. He allowed 3 hits, 6 runs, 4 earned, walked 5, which really proved to be the difference in this game. Also struck out 2. Jacob Schaefer, he came on in relief, 1 1/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 runs, all of which earned, also walked 2. And then the Cotuit bullpen came in, really did a good job as Aaron Masulam, he worked 2 innings, allowed 2 hits, just 1 earned run, and Owen Pierce was cruising until sort of the wheels kind of just fell off the train there as the 3-run home run led from Michael Anderson. But he went 2 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, and also struck out 1. So encouraging signs from the Cotuit bullpen, but offensively, just a day where they didn't have it. How do you rebound tomorrow?
I think you just need to be able to scrap this one and move on to into the game tomorrow. It's tough to tell right now if there's going to be any sort of, lineup adjustments, switching things up offensively, but you got to go out there and just swing away, be aggressive early on. I think that's something that Harwich did early on in this game. They were aggressive. They didn't let Cam Hill's pitches come to them. They didn't let him be the aggressor. They were the aggressors in each count, and I think that made Cam Hill a bit more uncomfortable, and then in turn Jacob Schaefer, and that's why you saw them not being able to get that first pitch into the zone. And so that just gives that much more confidence to the batter. It puts them in the driver's seat. So if the Kets at the plate can be more in the driver's seat than they were today and be a little less passive, then hopefully they'll come out on the better end of a game against Orleans.
We talked about first pitch strikes really being a big factor in this game, whether Cotuit struggling to get that first pitch strike or Harwich and Griffin Kern getting the first pitch strikes there. So definitely something to look forward to tomorrow, but just hitting wise, only 4 hits for Cotuit. Brooks Bryan had the lone extra base hit. That was a double that came in the bottom of the 5th. And that'll do it from our coverage. Adele Huffman will have an interview with head coach Mike Roberts. That'll be posted on our YouTube channel. But that'll do it from all of our coverage from Lowell Park as Harwich pulls off a 13-2 victory on opening night against Cotuit. For my broadcast partner Joe Pratt, I'm Alex Rocco. Thank you so much for spending part of your Saturday evening with us.